Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We appreciate all comments, whether positive or negative, because it is very important to ventilate both sides of any issue. All we ask is that you observe the YouTube community guidelines. We'd like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. Okay, folks, as promised, in this video we will be addressing the latest comments that Toto Wolff has been making about Lewis Hamilton, while promoting the new Mercedes All Access book, Inside Mercedes F1, Life in the Fast Lane, which followed the team throughout its troubled 2023 season, and for the first part of 2024. Initially, we were going to address comments like the cognitive sharpness, shelf life, and liked it, to start with, but when in preparation, we were listening to his high-performance podcast interview where he was regurgitating most of this crap, our blood boileth over, and we just had to address a portion of that podcast first. We are talking about the portion that proves conclusively that Sir Lewis had blanked Toto in the period immediately after Abu Dhabi, and Toto had been lying to the public when recounting stories about his interactions with Sir Lewis during that period. The relevant segment came some 30 minutes into the interview, when he was asked how aware was he that Sir Lewis was struggling after the race. Let us first address the fact that the interviewer, who doesn't have a personal relationship with Sir Lewis, chose to address him as Lewis. One can't help but wonder how he addresses or would address Sir Jackie. One can't help but wonder why the F1 media refrain from paying Sir Lewis his due respect as a British knight. Perhaps it makes it easier for them to dehumanize him. Anyway, let us move on with the interview. Do note that it was a soft interview held at the Mercedes F1 head office, so this might explain why the interviewer glossed over the glaring inconsistencies between the account of the events immediately after the race that Toto provided back in December 2021, and the version he provided in this interview some 3 years later. Our regular viewers may recall our videos, showing that Toto has a history of using soft interviews to put forward a narrative that smears Sir Lewis, while portraying himself in a soft light. The soft interviewer invariably fails to push back or clarify the inconsistency between the version of events that Toto is putting forward in the interview and what he has said in other public engagements. And then that fake news interview is then disseminated widely as if it were true. But on this occasion, Toto's slip-up was still striking enough for this soft interviewer to press him ever so softly on it. I must say that I was so chuffed and proud to see people like our at David Johnson DC8LU, not buying the lies. Here's the relevant clip from the high-performance interview for your attention. Judge for yourself and let's talk about it in the comments section. What does Toto claiming in the clip you've just seen, that Sir Lewis was in an okay place in the days immediately after Abu Dhabi, compare with what he was reportedly saying 3 years ago, back on and after December 26th, some 14 days after the freak-off party he hosted to celebrate the robbery? Now, here's the thing, in the high-performance clip, the interviewer prefaced his question about how Toto knew that Sir Lewis was okay, with,
So you said you knew a few days.
I don't know about you, but Toto appears to be saying that Sir Lewis left for the Caribbean immediately after the race. This cannot possibly be true, because back in December 2021, Toto had reported that he and some others were in the office with Sir Lewis sometime between the 12th and the 15th, when he was knighted by the then Prince of Wales. Well, we know that Toto was freaking off on the night of the 12th into the early hours of the 13th, and it's about 7 hours from Abu Dhabi back to England, with a 4-hour time difference, so it is unlikely that the office meeting took place on the 13th. So that leaves the 14th and the 15th. Given the report that they were back in video calls the afternoon after the dubbing, then Toto and Sir Lewis could only have been in the office on the 14th. Furthermore, it is unlikely that the GOAT would have taken a 15-hour flight from Abu Dhabi to the Caribbean, and while acclimatizing to the 8-hour time difference, indulge in some sports and kitesurfing, before taking another 9-hour flight from the Caribbean to the UK, allowing for the 5-hour time difference, to get knighted. So, for the reasons cited above, the interviewer should have known that Toto had to be lying when he claimed Sir Lewis immediately left for the Caribbean. But here comes the twist. Through the media reports coming out on or after December 26, 2021, Toto was clearly putting forward the false narrative that after the 15th, he was still in regular contact with Sir Lewis and speaking on his behalf. Similarly, in the high-performance interview, some 3 years later, Toto is clearly still suggesting that he was talking to and communicating with the GOAT when he was in the Caribbean, where according to Toto he went immediately after the race. But when you are an inveterate liar, you start tripping over your lies. So, Toto prefaced his bigger lie about communicating with Sir Lewis, with the smaller lie, so to speak, about him departing for the Caribbean immediately after Abu Dhabi. Now, here comes the boom. How can the interviewer accept Toto's claim that he knew Sir Lewis was in an okay place, because the GOAT's friends told him so? Surely, the interviewer should have followed up by asking Toto if he spoke to his driver directly, and if not, why not? Now, if you recall, in the 2 weeks after the robbery, Toto was reported to have said that Sir Lewis was still reeling from the shock of what happened in Abu Dhabi, and was silent because he lacked words due to a sense of the injustice that was done to him. How does this square with what he is claiming now? Whichever way you cut it, either he was lying then, or he is lying now. Furthermore, this inveterate liar's claim that he knew Sir Lewis was okay, because his friends told him so, begs the obvious question of why he didn't ask Sir Lewis directly, or report what the GOAT told him directly. We can accept that Toto had been in constant communication with Sir Lewis in the 3 days between the robbery and the dubbing. But, it would appear that after the 15th, Sir Lewis was not picking Toto's calls or responding to his messages, and this forced him to reach out to his driver's friends to try and get some feedback. In the high-performance lie, Toto let it slip that Sir Lewis took his distance. Now, one of the media houses reproducing the transcript added the words, "from the sport," in brackets, but we take the view that this was Toto inadvertently revealing that Sir Lewis was keeping his distance from everybody, including Toto himself. He was not taking Toto's calls, and that is why the snake was reduced to getting information from the GOAT's friends. Consequently, Toto was lying when he was purporting to speak on behalf of Sir Lewis as if they were still in regular contact the way they had been in the 3 days after the robbery. If you can come up with any other reason why Toto would be citing Sir Lewis's friends as the source of his conclusion that the GOAT was okay in the immediate aftermath of Abu Dhabi, please provide them in the comment section. Forza Ferrari.